One of the cases discussed in Parshas Mishpatim, which really focuses, a great deal of the Parsha focuses on monetary law, is that of the Ganav, the person who steals. This is far from a model citizen. This is a person who wreaks havoc on the lives of others in the community. And so we would never think that there is something positive we could take away from the example of this person who, for a living, does things that just causes trouble for others. Rabbanu Pshitcha says that there are actually three elements of the Ganav, three things that we can learn from the Ganav in a positive way to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is what he says they are. The first is that a Ganav is never lazy. A Ganav gets up, whether it's cold outside, whether it's raining or snowing or it's steaming hot, a Ganav always goes to work. The Shulchan Aruch tells us, Yiskaber kari lavodas baro, that when a person gets up in the morning, we are to get up with alacrity, with a zest for the day to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's how we're supposed to begin our day. That, says Rabbanim, we could actually learn from the example of the Ganav. The Ganav used it for negative. We can use it to be positive in our relationship with Hashem. The second thing, he says that a Ganav is someone who is so fixated on success, the Ganav will never give up. If he's not matzliach at first, if he's not successful at first at accomplishing his goal of stealing from someone, he'll sit and come up with other ideas, other ways in which he can be successful. And he won't stop until he's successful. He's driven to succeed. How many times do we find ourselves, perhaps when it comes to our connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our connection with mitzvos, with Torah learning, where we just say, I can't do it. I'm not matzliach, I'm not successful at it. Okay, it's not for me. We learn from the Ganav to keep on trying, keep on moving until we become successful, come up with different ideas in order for us to be successful. That, Rabbanim says, is the second thing we learn from the Ganav. And the third is that the Ganav never looks at something that he wants to steal and say, this isn't worth it, it's too small. It's not significant enough. The Ganav looks at even the smallest item, and it's not small in his eyes because he accomplishes his task of stealing. And so Rabbanim says that we should never look at a mitzvah. We should never look at time that we make for learning Torah. We should never look at a way in which we want to become close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, it's not big enough. Oh, I didn't spend enough time doing it. We should always look in a positive light and never see something being too small for us. We should instead look like the Ganav and say, even if it's a small amount, even if it's a couple of minutes, it's worth it. It's worth it to do the mitzvah. It's worth it to learn Torah, even for a few minutes. And that too, we learn from the Ganav. May we be zocheh to internalize these lessons of Rav Banim and become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and actually learn something from this very negative member of society. Thank you for listening and have a good Shabbos.